We are here. The last PLE of the year, deadline. No more for the rest of the year, which is only a few more weeks. And then we start up all over again. I believe it'll be January 6th. That will be on a Tuesday. Yep, that will be NXT. Guys, this has been a very interesting year for WWE. A year for record pricing. A year for record profit. Let's make it very clear. We wouldn't be having record pricing by WWE unless they're getting record profit as well. That's just the deal. And that has been motivated for Raw. That's been motivated for SmackDown. And also, to a certain extent, motivated for NXT. Nothing about AAA. Nothing about Evolve. Speed is done. What we now have are 3 shows. 3 dominant shows, Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, that everything gets funneled into from AAA, from Evolve, and TNA. Let's make it very clear. TNA is going to be giving them what they need as well. So this show kind of reflects that. But as my title shows, where are we going? Is this safe or is it risky? Honestly, when you look at the people they chose, it's not risky. Nope. It's mostly safe. That's the truth. This is mostly a safe show that's going to be leading into the safe 2026 roster as well into the 2026 storyline. That's just how it looks. It's not about if you think, oh, look who won Iron Survivor for the women. Oh, look who won Iron Survivor for the men. No. It's not about being risky. It's about being safe. Because the most they've done is use people that they believe, not just they're ready for certain things, but they've been seen enough. Remember, WWE, the current product, the one that's owned by Silver Lake, because no one's saying anything about it. I'm the only one who I think is doing that because they're not owned by Ari Emanuel. Ari sold the company to Silver Lake Global. It's not about that regular Ari stuff anymore, even though he still has input and can do what he generally needs to do until the ones above him say, stop it, do what we want. That's the truth. It's about profits, none about the love of wrestling. So let's get into this. Ubafemi versus Ricky Saints. Now, mind you, I did not think Ricky was going to job here. I truly believed they were going to do something in the beginning of next year. And if he was going to job, it would be maybe in February, maybe March, to give him some time with that title. We didn't get that. Ubafemi beat him. Let me say that again. You only just let Ricky Saints get this title for a handful of weeks, barely into a month or so. And now, deadline is where you make him drop it. And there's only one of 2 reasons why they would do that. One, they have a storyline they want to do. And they legitimately believe that Ricky should not be involved in it. It should be someone else. That counts on what we saw at the end of the show, which I am not forgetting about what happened. But if it was going to be anything, one of them would have been another storyline they believe would be more presentable, very familiar, very possibly interesting for the general public to watch. But also, this has got to be there too. The other one was that they may want to move Ricky up to the main roster now. They just didn't want him to keep the title. When he gets his rematch, it's not going to mean anything. He's going to get beat again. And they're just going to make him stay where he is until they're ready to bring him up to the main roster, which might be next year, somewhere around WrestleMania, maybe, because there's no guarantee they will. They may just done the first one, like I said, and made this about another story they want to do in 2026 that they believe will have enough power to be very important and interesting to the 2 people that's going to be a part of it, Ubafemi, and whoever they believe is going to be going after Ubafemi. Now, let's go to the Women's Iron Survivor. Of course, you know the women are already there, but just in case you know, Kiani Jordan, Kendall Gray, Jordan Grace, Lola Vice, and Soruka. Now, Kendall Gray and Lola Vice are in positioned. Kendall is second, Lola is fourth. And I would have thought that you would have had Lola second because Kendall was second with Kiani Jordan. I would have thought it would have been Lola, not Kendall Gray. But they chose to do Kendall instead of Lola. Because, remember, Lola has been supposedly hot lately, working in AAA. Remember, they keep talking about AAA so much. Lola Vice has been in AAA more than a few times already. So you would think Lola Vice should be second with Kiani Jordan. No, they didn't go there. So the people you would really think would be the best ones to start the match that already has at least a lot of exposure, and then let everyone else come, which they could build into. Nope. Kendall Gray, who is the current Evolved female champion, who really doesn't feel that important at all. I'm sorry, she doesn't. I've stated this before and I'll state it again. She feels like a generic Kurt Angle when he first started out. He does not feel important at that time when it's his time, when he was part of WWE. And Kendall, same thing. She doesn't feel important. She doesn't feel substantial. Yes, she's a well-rounded wrestler, just like he was when he became an Olympic gold medalist. Yes, they used his medal as his gimmick. But with her, what is her gimmick? What makes her special? She's the Evolved champion, but she doesn't feel important. And yes, she's part of the Ren Cube, her version of the Catch Crew. But she doesn't feel important. Oh, just in case I begin to cough, I'm a little sick today. Just in case you hear me coughing, I just wanted to say it so there would be no confusion. This is like Gump Report. You never know what you're going to get. But it didn't really make much sense for her to be in this first match. And if I remember correctly, she got the first pin on Kiani. So Kiani went into the penalty box first. She went into lockup. Then we had Jordan Grace. Now, the thing about Jordan is, I do like Jordan Grace. I do. Is it because I'm so familiar with her with TNA? No. She's actually won me over when it comes to NXT. Because remember, this is what I say all the time. It doesn't matter where you come from. It depends on what they do with you when you come in. Because she's a 3-time Knockouts champion. She's worked in multiple promotions over the years with her husband, Jonathan Gresham. Easily. She's very familiar to me. But I didn't go by what she did in TNA. I went by what she was being allowed to do in WWE. When she went to Royal Rumble. When she started working in NXT. This program she's had with Kiani. I'm not saying it was the best one, but it is done pretty well. And even when she was with Blake Monroe, which I will talk about, hopefully I don't forget with all this content here, and her wanting to do an open challenge, and I got thoughts on that. But when you see this situation with Jordan, you go, she feels like the best person to get this opportunity. She feels like it. But then you wonder why during the match, and she looked dominant beyond any of the other women. She looked way dominant. Now, Kendall Gray looked all right, but she did do the majority of work like Kurt Angle would do when he first started. Let's make it very clear. That is what she does. She is just a simple wrestler, amateur-based, and that is what we generally saw from her. But when you saw her having to interact with Kiani and also interact with Jordan Grace, you can also see her weakness. Because, yes, she's been in the Performance Center for a while now. She has the skill to learn, and she has been working on doing pro wrestling. But you can see she really doesn't have the psychology. She doesn't. She only goes by what she is, and that is an amateur wrestler who really doesn't have a lot of charisma yet, who doesn't really have a lot of that factor that makes you interesting going with psychology, because she's still showing exactly what an amateur wrestler and what Kurt Angle said himself. And yes, she showed emotion, because that is the one thing that, if you look at the Broken Skull session that came out a couple of years ago, when Kurt Angle was there, they tell you not to show any emotion in a match. And yes, she's showing emotion, but she's showing an overabundance of emotion. In other words, she's overselling. And it shows. She's overselling. And she's making it more about wrestling than not just showing her emotion and the psychology of making it feel important. You can do that in a multiple woman or multiple man match if you've been trained well enough and you got the business, and she just doesn't have it. So she just fell apart at certain parts of that match easily. Lola looked fine because she has been in a lot of spots, and that's the reason why I thought she would be second next to Kiana Jordan. The one that was the X factor was Soruka, where they keep trying to sell her injury. And if you remember, you saw Sol talking to Zarya, where they supposedly tried to patch it up. Said, I'm sorry I didn't pay more attention to you. And then Zarya said, I'm sorry, I was angry and I should be there with you. Didn't think you want me there. So that section of their storyline is still going on. And she never showed up. Zarya was not there. So she didn't show up. She didn't come out to the ring. She didn't attack Sol. That was it. So as this match went on, it was not bad. And yes, Kiana Jordan, before she was supposed to go into the penalty box, did attack Sol. But the thing is that Sol came back after she was taken to the back. Not too surprising. And Sol did get 2 pins. The one who got the final full pin, because all the women were locked at 2. And the one who was in the penalty box the most was Kiana Jordan. She had 5 penalty boxes. The one who was second was, I believe, it was Kendall Gray. She had 3. But the thing here is this. Did Kendall work well in this match? I can say okay-ish. Very well, okay-ish, trash. She's somewhere floating between okay and pretty well. That's where she floated. Like I said, she just didn't show the right emotion and not a very good amount of, really a good amount of psychology in that match. I know not everyone's going to agree with me, but this is the way it looked. In the end, she won that match. And I'm thinking, okay, why would you just over Sol? Where the story between her and Zarya looks like one of them is going to turn on the other. Why not over Lola Vice? Why did you do that? Because look at Lola. She's had a large amount of exposure on NXT. She went to the main roster at least once, I believe. And then she's been working AAA. Supposedly, she's supposed to be important, but she didn't get it here either. Jordan Grace, I can understand. I guess they don't want to give it to her this year. Maybe they will let her get the NXT Championship next year. But you let Kendall Gray get this spot, where you know there is no way she's going to win the championship at New Year's Eve. It makes no sense for her to win it. So you just wanted to protect everybody else and use the safe person there. You don't want Kiani the job at New Year's Eve. You don't want Sol the job at New Year's Eve. You don't want Jordan Grace the job at New Year's Eve. And you definitely don't want Sol the job. So use Kendall, which is the safest bet, which I don't really agree with it. You should have let one of these women win it. And it would have gave them something extra going in New Year's Eve going to the next year. But that's just me. You guys down below. Next match. The North American Championship. Ethan Page, I'm saying it right now. I didn't care about this match. It wasn't about the quality. I didn't care about Mr. Iguana. I'm sorry. I didn't give one damn flips about Mr. Iguana. It wasn't because I thought he didn't wrestle well. And it wasn't because he wasn't charismatic. And that he wasn't interesting. Look, he reminds me of Orange Cassidy. That's who he reminds me of. In AEW, they have Orange Cassidy when he was first starting out, when he was more comedic than anything else. But when it was time to push it and to become a really good wrestler, he could do it. That's what Mr. Iguana feels like to me personally. But the difference between Orange Cassidy and Mr. Iguana, at least with AEW when he first started and he was there, they did not just give him exposure, they let him have character with people around him. This was just a straight match from somebody who came from AAA, which doesn't matter. Remember, AAA is going to have its next show on YouTube. If AAA is so damn important, why don't they have their own PLE in America? The only thing you get is YouTube shows. Why not have an actual show with a PLE? You know why? They're not important. They're just something to deliver new people in if WWE Silver Lake really believes they're worth it. And then they'll bring them up to either Evolve first and then to NXT. That's how they feel. And here's the problem. Why isn't Mr. Iguana on Evolve? If he was so interesting to everyone that saw the last two shows, because he were in both of them, why is he not in Evolve already? Want to make a simple guess? He's not that important. And this is not against Mr. Iguana. I don't care about him because there's nothing on him. This is what people don't understand. Oh, he's a great wrestler. You got to watch AAA. No, I'm not. I'm like a lot of people who do not go off to another promotion that at this point in time is owned by WWE. And the most they give us is YouTube shows. Why would I care about him? They haven't made him feel important on the main roster because he's not there. They haven't made him feel important about the Raw roster. He's not there. The SmackDown roster is not there. This is one of the few times they've thrown him at NXT, and he's not on Evolve. If he was on Evolve, when they started showing credits for Evolve, and they showed a couple of people and trying to make them feel important that came from, guess what? LFG and Evolve. They started showing vid packs for me because of the commercials. Where is he? Nowhere. Nowhere. He's nowhere. So you're giving me a match from a guy who's from AAA to debunk AAA because they're not in existence anymore. They're just an extension of WWE. He's not on Evolve. So instead of building him up to make him feel important, then filter him onto the show. So at least you would have a couple of things like Legacy. I can at least say with Legacy, they've shown him more than a few times, and he looks impressive. But that's because they were willing to put the effort in, not just from him being involved, but actually start showing him on NXT TV. So I wouldn't mind seeing a Shawn Legacy. But Mr. Iguana, I've checked out two YouTube shows where he was in. Do I care? No. Because AAA is not important to WWE. If it was, you would see more of those people on the show more often. They would already appear in Evolve. And more than that, guess what? The PLEs would also be a AAA PLE. And it's not. So, Ethan won. Why do I care? Moving on. I had to give that explanation because it's not about Mr. Iguana. I don't hate him. They give me no reason to care. Moving on to the next match. The story. The strongest story they had on the show. The strongest story. Tatum Paxley versus Izzy Day. Now, you guys know, if you've been watching me, I felt they did not give Tatum enough story in this before she started. I felt like Tatum should have had not been brought in so quickly. That Izzy should have had more opportunity to try and get the North American title and the world title. I felt like she should have had more, but she didn't. It felt like she needed more substance behind her character before Tatum came in, that she took her under the wing and legitimately managed to get her to become a champion, and next to begging her not to act so irrationally, we get this. Now, mind you, is it a bad story? No. For me personally, it just feels like Tatum's been very well developed. She has. She has been developed very, very well. But Izzy just didn't feel like she was developed enough. So that's just my preference. I'm sure you're fine with it, but for me, Izzy should be here, but she felt like here. So when this match happened, and my credit, I loved it. I give credit to Tatum. I never said I hated Tatum. I just felt like Izzy needed more content for her character. But when you see Tatum come out, not only was her makeup all year, she was crying legitimately, guys. This wasn't fake tears. Those were real tears coming from her face. She was crying. This shows you what wrestlers have to learn in this type of environment, that if they need to bring out a raw emotion where literally not only to show it by physical, but also in their bodies. Tatum was literally crying. And yes, it's crocodile tears. She might have thought of something very sad to bring out the tears, of course. But seeing as the story was going where Tatum was literally in tears, and Izzy was just trying to milk every bit of using her. And good. It all worked out very well. This was a very well-built match. It was. They played on Tatum's weaknesses, which was Izzy making it very clear, I'm going to use her ass as many times. I'm going to make her as emotional as possible, make her cry, and then I'm just going to beat the living shit out of her, which she did. But those moments where Tatum finally did not go for it, and when Izzy screamed at her, why don't you evolve, the emotion switched from just crying to pure, unadulterated madness. And to a certain rate, if anyone knows about, if you're a Star Wars fan, and you read the books, or as for me, listen to the audiobooks, because I don't read very well. I'm dyslexic. You can hear through the stories how the Sith learn to channel their rage instead of just being controlled and consumed by it. If it's sadness, they can convert that into something that can make them powerful. They mainly use rage. And in this case, with Tatum, she switched that rage into total control. And when you would think she would be screaming and yelling, she did none of it. She had controlled rage. And that's how it went. And you see Shawn Spears handing her 2 dolls, one for her and one for Izzy, and then rips the head off of the doll, which is for Tatum. I thought this might actually be the moment for Tatum, if they're willing to do this, and that's the creative team, that she no longer deals with dolls anymore. Because now she's going to come to the realization, if they go there, that this item that's in her hand that represents her has been used so many times against her. Every single time that she's now done. Dolls mean nothing to her. Because after she smacks Shawn Spears, gets in the ring, she gets beat, and she's just laying there on the floor crying again. If they go there, and they make that switch, where Tatum, in the next year, doesn't wear the same clothes she wears anymore, doesn't wear heavy makeup on her eyes anymore, and there's no more dolls. This could be that she can do an interview where literally the switch got turned on, and now I just don't care anymore. I don't care about being alone. I don't care about people using me. Only thing I care about is the beating everyone. And that could be good for next year if they go there, which I don't know if they will. Final match. Let's get to the Iron Survivor Challenge for the men. Evans, Slater, Lennox, Miles Bourne, and the Mr. Joe Henry himself. Let me make it very clear. I wasn't sure who was going to win this, but I thought the best people that could win it would have been Bourne or Lennox. I didn't expect Evans to win, and I didn't expect Leon Slater to win either, or Joe Henry for that matter. Didn't think it was necessary for them. Those three are over. Bourne is not. Lennox is not either. And if you want to do something that would build these guys up, it would be doing Miles Bourne. I don't know why I said Evan. Miles Bourne and Lennox. I'm sorry. That would have been the best option, where at least if you're going to see if they can sink or swim in their stories going against Ubafemi again, since he won, this will probably be alright. But we did not get that. It was a good match. No, there was no lie about it. The first one that got pinned was Leon Slater. He went to the penalty box first. And everyone had at least one penalty box. Everybody. But when it was near the end, it wasn't Bourne who won. And it wasn't Leon who won. Which might have made some sense. Look. If you have Miles Bourne, they've been building him for quite a while. Finally moving away from his hearing problem and making it clear that he's supposed to be the next thing. Then you look at Leon. Not Leon. When you look at Lennox, you would think they've been showing him for a while, and now he has a story with easily Ubafemi. Even if it's a short story, at least it would be someone from Dark State. Because, as I've said for months, and months, and months, and months. Hopefully you can hear me. Sorry. I thought my mic died again. Ugh. That's happened a couple of times. I think I'm talking, and the mic died. Let me give it to you like this. You would think with Lennox, somebody from Dark State, they would finally pull the trigger on one of them and make them mean something. Nope. It's Devon Evans. Someone who's already gone up against Ubafemi more than a few times. Someone who's already tried to get the title more than once. And now you just did the safe bet. Where it doesn't really matter if he wins or not. What's going to happen is that it's a safe option. You're not taking a risk with anyone. So I'm like, okay, what does this mean? So we just let Ubafemi win the damn title from Ricky Saints and let him have Devon Evans, which feels like a safe bet. But then we saw the lights go out. They showed a video of someone walking towards the camera, and it's Tony D, finally back. And he lays out Evans and throws these little things onto the ground. Like black petals. Like the kiss of death. I think that's what they would call it. Black rose petals. Now you would say, this might be something interesting. You have Devon Evans go up against Ubafemi, lose, and then you're going to have Ubafemi deal with Tony D, which has happened before. But then I'm thinking, is this a risky bet or is this a safe bet? Safe bet. Everyone knows Tony D. He's a good wrestler that has good story behind him. A good character behind him. He went away for a couple of months and now he's back. More than a few months actually. I think he was there in the summer when he finished dealing with Stax. And then he went away for a while. And now I'm like, as much as I like Tony D, and I do like Tony D, I like the D'Angelo family storyline. It was good. But the question is now, going into 2026, are they going to start trying to build up new stars? Risk new stars? And I'm thinking, no. No, this is safe. As far as I can see as it stands now. Now, in a few weeks into the next month, I could be easily wrong. And I don't really feel like I am, but I could easily be wrong. Because if New Year's Evil is something special, and they are willing to give Devon Evans that title, one, it makes Ubafemi look weak, that he just beat Ricky Saints, but then loses to Devon Evans. But that also means they have a lot of confidence in Devon Evans, but then I'm thinking, with Devon Evans, don't you think it should be more than this? Maybe Stand and Deliver would be the best time for him? Right around the time of WrestleMania? I don't know. And then what do you think about Tony D? If Devon Evans loses, that means they're going to push Tony D. He's a new star, in a sense. He's been around for almost 3 years now. But then, no, because he's a safe bet, because they know he can work. So I'm like, what really is this? What is Deadline? Was this going to be a safe? Or is this going to be a reckless bet? I don't know yet. But this is what I see. And this is my review of Deadline 2025. Please give me a comment below you will see I was at the 30-minute mark. I have to say this. You will see that after this, on Sunday, you're going to see a video of Bear Bronson. Now, the reason I'm adding this here, because I really did want to add it, because someone said, hey, Bear Bronson has been seen in TNA at Final Resolution. Well, I filmed something already about 4 days ago. I didn't get a chance to release it. 3 or 4 days ago, I filmed something about Bear Bronson along with Ricky Morton. I just haven't released them yet. I didn't get a chance to. I've been actually kind of sick. I got a cold. So I've been kind of distracted. When you're sick, you don't want to do much. But I do have it, so tomorrow I will release the Bear Bronson video. And then maybe Monday I will release, because after this, I am going to be filming the Righteous video I'm going to make. Because I know you guys were wondering in Final Resolution, why didn't you talk about the Righteous? Well, it's because I wanted to make a Gump Goodness about it. So I will, unless I drag it beyond that and it'll become a Gump Report. So I will be filming the video of the Righteous right after this. And then I'll see if I can film a couple of more videos, because there's no guarantee we're going to have much content from WWE, TNA, or AEW by the end of the year. We don't know yet. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give me a comment. Give me a like, maybe one. Peace.